Good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Weishuhn. If you enjoy real-world hunting and fishing talk, you're really going to enjoy listening to my good friend, Luke Clayton, and his guest for the next hour.
This is David Fox, and welcome to Outdoors with Luke Clayton and Friends. Luke has been a recognized outdoors writer for the past 3 decades and writes for a host of outdoor publications. Luke pens a weekly newspaper outdoors column that appears in over 40 Texas newspapers. Luke is on the pro staff of Pyramid Air, your one-stop shop for everything air gun related. Smoking techs, electric smokers, feel free to contact Luke through his website, catfishradio.org. Now let's join Luke and his guests for this week's show.
Well, thank you, fellas and folks. It is your old buddy Luke Clayton. Your other good friend, Mr. Larry Weishuhn, is standing by, and we're going to have some fun and talk about hunting. Larry, thanks for being with me.
Look, it is a genuine pleasure. And before we get into talk, we've got a couple of things we want to really visit with people about today. But I want to say that we really appreciate Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable Vineyard Max, which makes the absolutely fantastic Vineyard Max bait for hunting whitetail deer and a whole bunch of feeders and do all kinds of other great things. Taurus, that makes the Raging Hunter handguns that I shoot a lot. And then, of course, we have got DSC, Conservation Education, and Hunter Advocacy, and Stealth Vision. And kind of leaving those last two to the last because, number one, if you're listening to this on the 23rd of August, this afternoon, later, I will be at the Conroe Taxidermy event that's being put on by DSC Foundation and the Ox Ranch. And it's a little bit late to get there this year. It was not an invitation only, but you had a RSVP so that we knew the number of people. But, people learn more about all that for maybe next year or next time by going to the DSC website, which is biggame.org. Now, with all that said, Luke, this is an absolutely fabulous time to, if you're going to buy a new rifle, if you're going to buy a new scope, or you want to put a scope on a rifle that you've already got, want to, check your ammunition to maybe see which one of the Hornady ammos your rifle likes the best. This is an ideal time to get that done.
It is, Larry. And, most of the companies, I can't say all because I haven't shot all brands of rifles, every year, but you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to get a quality rifle that I can remember back in the day many years ago, some rifles out of the box shot good and some didn't, but I've yet to shoot a new rifle in the past recent history, let's put it, that wasn't accurate. So all the companies make one. I know the Mossbergs that you shoot, I've shot them. They're quality rifles. The CVA Cascade models that I hunt with now, awesome rifles. So the rifle that you get, if you're not, I do think you're going to probably, I don't know, dollar-wise for people shopping for a new rifle, I think $800-900 now, Larry, you can get a quality rifle. Would you agree with that?
You can, and I'll tell you what, you can get them for less than that.
Yeah, if you shop around.
Some of these really quality rifles, such as you mentioned the Mossbergs that I shoot, and I really didn't mention them earlier because one of the things I love about them is the fact that they're made in Texas, down close to Eagle Pass, which really proud of that fact and the fact that they are made in Texas. But those Mossberg Patriot Predators, I think they're probably going to be less than $600 real world. I'll tell you what, they are extremely accurate, particularly with Hornady ammunition. And I know that you shoot the CVA, and I'm sure that price range is in that same category now. The beauty of these rifles is the one I'm shooting a lot this year that I'm hunting with quite a bit is their Mossberg Patriot carbine, which is a 20-inch barrel on a 7mm PRC. And the beauty of that 7mm PRC is that to really get the the true value of that rifle, you don't need to have a 24, 26-inch barrel. And with that rifle, been shooting it out to about 600-700 yards now. Just that's for me to play with. Now, I'm not going to shoot an animal that far. I'm going to get as close as I possibly can. But I know the accuracy on those things, and really you can shoot a lot farther if you wanted to. But at about 700-800 yards, I'm shooting like a 3-inch group with the Hornady Precision Hunter, which is 175 grain bullets. So it's one of those things that these days, as you mentioned, with the ammunition that we have, with the rifles that we have, you do not need to spend that $4,000 or $5,000. Now, somebody's in one of those nth degree rifles. My God, you could spend $4,000, $5,000. I've seen them go for $10,000 to $12,000 completely outfitted. But for most of us that are hunting in real world situations, you seldom going to ever take a shot over 400 yards, and most of us will hardly ever take a shot over about 125 yards. So my gracious, you're talking about getting a just tremendous value for the dollars that you invest in a rifle these days.
Exactly, Larry. You're exactly right. And the shorter barrel you mentioned, I like that anyway because I do a lot of woods hunting. I mean, I'm in the woods a lot. And some heavy cover a lot of times for hogs, and the shorter barrel, a comparison, CVA makes one called the VH Varmint Hunter, shorter barrel. It's a long range shooter, but a long barrel rifle, which has its applications, and I'm not knocking it, but a real long barrel on a rifle is not conducive to sneaking through the brush too much. I mean, the shorter barrels I do like, and a scope. I remember back in the day when I newly married and not a lot of extra funds, and I remember buying a scope. I think I paid back in the day. I think it cost $200. It was a good one way back in about 1975, But Stealth Vision, I've got one topped on my rifles, actually on the 6.5 PRC. That rifle, that CVA, I have that stealth scope on that. And I was about this time last year. It doesn't seem like it's been a year, but we were down with the Stealth Vision folks in East Texas at the range down there shooting, and I was impressed. The long range. I went through a long range shooting school. I watched it on YouTube. It was filmed. I watched that thing. Josh Ruby had a long range shooting school that I went to probably 10 years ago, and I think I was shooting just to be honest with you, a Ruger number 1. The rifle,
right.
270, but he had me shooting it out to I think 600 yards, and with just a standard scope, which was a feat. I had just a standard scope on it, but for hunting, it was more as for a hunting type application. But these stealth scopes, mine is zeroed at 100. I think yours is maybe 200 zero on yours.
Yeah, these are what I do. Of course, they've got the adjustable turrets as well too.
Right,
so, it kind of depends on the situation. Is normally I will sight them in either at 100 yards or at 200 yards, and then having a ballistic chart, particularly if I'm going to be shooting at steel. And again, I've got that application if I really want to use it on big game, but I'm going to get as close as I can. But knowing the exact dial up, all you do is dial up, can adjust for the wind a little bit, and that's the trickiest thing out there. Is calling the wind if you're going to be shooting long range. But most of my stuff is sighted in so that it's you mentioned like at 200 yards. If I'm going to be hunting where there's any chance of shooting at 300 yards, because with the rifles that I'm shooting, with the ammunition that Hornady produces, if I'm sighted in at 200 yards, excuse me, say with my 7 PRC, I'm still going to be holding on dead on out to about 325 yards or so. So once you establish that 200 yard and something about the ballistics of that particular rifle caliber round and ammunition that you're shooting, I mean, with those scopes, the clarity of them is unbelievable. They've got that operational lit reticle, which I dearly love, because if you're hunting in poor light conditions, you can actually see that little red crosshair in the center there that makes it a whole lot easier as well too. So, and they've got several different models of scopes. I've got one that's 3-18 by 40. On one of them, and I've got a 5-20 by 50, and that means 5 to 15 power with a 50 millimeter front objective, and so on the front to allow for a little bit more light transmission. But they've got a variety of scopes and applications with the anti-cant system if you like to shoot long range. And again, I like to shoot long range at steel plates. And then when it comes time to hunt, like we said before, we like to get as close as we possibly can.
Exactly, Larry. Yeah, I was so accustomed to shooting one in at 100, but mine it's zeroed at 100, and like you say, out to 300. With a 6.5 PRC, put it on the middle of the shoulder, and you don't really, in a hunting application or situation, you don't really need to worry about dialing in anything. Just put it on him and shoot. But what I had fun doing is, like you're talking about, the steel is cranking that thing. Okay, they had targets out 600. Well, just dial in. Once it's zeroed, that the reticle it's burned on. That's the term that's used, but that you just turn that cap to say 600, 800, 1200, whatever, and by golly, it's there. I mean, I of course I'm old school. I want to check. I haven't shot it this summer, to be honest with you. It's been a little bit hot the last few months, but I'm going to get out and check that 100-yard zero. Then I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out to 400. Get a really solid rest, and I fully expect that thing to be shooting a tight group, and then probably I'll let it go at that, because unless I get out where there's some steel targets or something long range, I'll call it good, because I'm not going to be shooting a deer probably.
No.
I think go ahead, Larry. Yep.
And what I was going to say is that those scopes do not come with those turret caps. So what they will do, like you're talking about, they will custom make one for you based upon the ammunition that you're shooting, that particular gun, that particular height above the scope, all those kind of things. Those are custom caps that they will do for you. But they're also will program it if, say, I've got a hunt that I'm coming up in January where I'm hunting it at about 8,500 feet. Well, what I'll do is I'll have them do a custom turret cap for me that's based on my rifle, my ammunition, all those kind of things, and it'll adjust it to everything to where when I get that cap, it will be set up on that 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 yards. So you just simply have to turn to 100 or 125 or 425 or whatever. And it's something that Stealth Vision will do based upon your rifle and the altitude that you're going to be hunting or the elevation. Most of them come from the factory, if you will, or they're set up there they're in Crockett to shoot at that particular elevation of up to about maybe 2,000 feet of elevation. But if you're going to go beyond that, you want to get a custom turret that all you got to do is just crank, or even there, if you're going to be hunting just here and you're going to be shooting out 1,000 yards or whatever, at a target, they'll do a custom turret cap for you, so that, again, based on your individual rifle, your individual ammunition sort of thing.
Exactly. That was sure fun and a learning experience for me last year about this time when we went down and got our rifles scoped with these Stealth Vision. Folks can go online and check them out, can't they, Larry?
Absolutely. They can go to stealthvision.com and learn a whole lot more about them. And, they can also, we're going to be doing a bunch of different things here very shortly on our Sportsman's Life, where we'll be addressing some of those things as well, too. So there they can see it in terms of not just the true technical aspect of it, but the real world hunting applications of them as well.
Exactly right. Well, we're about out of time, Larry. A Sportsman's Life. You mentioned that. That's our digital TV show that we do every week. Jeff Rice, our buddy, is a videographer. He puts it together. We all film separately, and then when we're lucky, we get together and film together. But you can go to carbontv.com and look under recent videos, A Sportsman's Life. And we might be catching fish or we might be hunting deer, Larry, but regardless, we're going to be having fun, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Well, Larry, thanks for being with us. And next week, we're going to talk some more, probably some deer hunting next week. Would that be okay with you?
I think it'll be better than okay.
Friends, I want to tell you about an awesome camping destination, Wind Point Park on Lake Tawakoni. It's over on the far east side, kind of the northeast side of the lake. It's a pristine park. You can go there and view, I think they estimated a couple of hundred deer on that couple of hundred acres there. Cabins, beautiful RV park, fishing piers, docks. It's got everything you'd want in an outdoor destination. Check them out online at windpointparktx.com. Folks, I want to introduce you to Vineyard Max. Now, this is an awesome deer attractant, a food attractant that's made with hammer-milled grape skin, dried hammer-milled grape skins. It has a mixture of rice bran and also corn chops. Very effective. Deer can smell the scent of grapes from a long way, and it brings them in. I've used it in West Texas out with Larry Weishuhn, and we were out there where deer are not even exposed to grapes, and they came right in. Also, Vineyard Max has a very good line of game and fish feeders. Check them out online, vineyardmax.net. Well, friends, Mr. Larry Weishuhn is going to tell you about the finest hunting optics that we have ever found.
Luke, these are called Stealth Vision. They come from Crockett, Texas. Dr. John McCall developed them. They're 34-millimeter tubes as opposed to the narrower tubes, so more light transmission. They have a little green light that comes on. That scope is level because that's when you want to pull the trigger. They have an optional lighted reticle as well, too, and a whole lot of other products, and folks can learn more about them by going to stealthvision.com.
Folks, this segment is made possible by Smoking Tex electric smokers that I've been using a long, long time, Ultramatic feeders. I'd like you to check out the big bore air gun that I've done a great deal of hunting with. It's the Seneca Dragon Claw, 50 caliber, pressures up to 3,000 psi, and it looks like a conventional rifle. Wooden stock. I think you'll like the appearance, and I know you'll like the performance. It shoots not only bullets, but also air bolts as well, tipped with a broadhead. Check it out. It's the Seneca Dragon Claw. Well, folks, this is Catfish Radio. Of course, if you listen to us much, you know catfish is just a small part of what we talk about. But Tony Pennebaker is my friend down at Lake Tawakoni, which I consider to be one of the top catfish lakes in the Southwest, in my opinion, and probably the country, one of the top ones. But Tony has guided for catfish for many years there at Lake Tawakoni. He's been our guest many, many times. He makes a catfish bait that's called Tony P's. Tony P's catch punch bait. Well, I thought it would be informative and fun to get Tony on with us and just talk about catfish baits in general. Yeah, we will. He'll be able to tell you about the bait that he makes, the type bait, but we're going to talk about all kind of catfish baits. Tony, thank you, buddy, for being with us.
Good morning, Luke. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you with us, and I always, when I fish with you or get you to talk about fishing on the radio with us or the podcast, and I always learn something. And believe me, I've been catching catfish a long, long, long time. But catfish baits. Now when I was a boy growing up in Red River County, on a poultry farm, my dad would declare a holiday every 9 weeks, and we would clean the chicken houses out, and we would go up in southeast Oklahoma and go catfish, set trot lines. That's what we did. They bass fished and all that, but that was the main thing. Well, my job a day before was we called it a pool. It was a stock tank. Get out there, dig up some worms or whatever, and catch a bunch of perch. We called them perch. They were sunfish. And then my dad would cut those into cut bait. that's the bait we use. Sometimes I remember him saying, you know what, let's try, I've heard that these catfish will bite PG soap, Procter & Gamble soap. Let me get us some bars of soap. Well, we caught some on that. What I'm getting at, there's all kind of things that catfish will bite and eat, and you can catch them on. But punch bait, and I know you got in the business of making Tony P's punch bait. It's hard to beat punch bait for channel catfish. I honestly don't think you can, for convenience, and they smell it. It's got a lot going for it, hasn't it? Really, you know?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's got a good shelf life.
Yep.
Ready to fish when you are, you know.
Yeah.
As far as baiting hooks, and it's easy to bait. It's real easy, you know. Just punch it down in there and pull it out and drop it.
Yep.
Makes it a lot easier, and then a bucket of it catches a lot of fish.
Oh man, it does. Well, you know, all punch baits are not made the same. Tell us what your opinion of a good punch. I know for a fact that Tony P's is a good punch bait because I fish. That's what I fish with it a lot, with you and by myself and with other people too. But what makes a good punch bait? Kind of describe that. You don't have to give formulas or anything. Just what's yeah.
Most of them are cheese based, you know, and Tony P's is cheese based.
Right.
And of course, there's other additives, and we won't go into that.
Mm-hmm.
But like the fiber content and cattails are a big part of it, and it just has to be the right consistency to stay on your hook.
Yeah.
It'll catch fish if it stays on the hook, and that's the bottom line. You know, there's certain things there. The cheese is one of them, you know, that helps it stay on there. But the fiber controls the viscosity of it.
Yes.
And keeps it where it'll stay on your hook.
That's the key. And one of the reasons that it is so effective. One of the reasons that it's so effective is the fact that you got a bucket there and you got a stick or something. Well, you got a treble hook. If you're channel catfishing, I kind of like a number 4, but most people like a number 6 treble hook. But anyway, a treble hook and a little weight above it. That's pretty simple.
Simple rig.
It is. You just put your. If there are folks listening, I'm sure that's never used punch bait. I bet most of us have. Most of you have. But you just lay that treble hook down in that bucket of punch bait. Take your stick and poke it down in there. Drag it out. And something that I've learned, Tony, of course, if it's good punch bait and made right, it'll stay on that hook. But you just ease that over into the water, drop it down close to the bottom usually, and when you first start fishing punch bait, sometimes even over a hole that's baited with soured grain or range cubes, cattle range cubes, when you first start fishing with it, I've often noticed, well, you'll catch a fish or two. It might be game on right away, but it might take 10, 15, 20 minutes. But the longer you fish it, that smell gets out and brings it, you know, it's like chumming them when you're using a good punch bait, isn't it? Really?
It is, and especially you got 4 or 5 people in the boat. Yeah. And you're all dropping baits, and you're getting that smell in the water, and the fish will just come to you. And
right.
You know, they're already around because you already dropped some sour grain or cattle cubes or something, and they're coming to investigate. But when you go to dropping that punch bait, you're going to really draw them in.
That's true. And then it usually...
And it's better on a kind of I wouldn't say an exact steel day, but punch bait fishing does really work better with less wind.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a lot to do with your experience level. If you're a real experienced angler with fishing punch bait, the higher winds won't hurt you as bad.
Mm-hmm.
But they will hinder you from feeling the bite if you're not really an avid fisherman fishing with it. You know, first time you ever do it, you're probably going to miss a couple of fish on kind of that light bite.
Right,
and
right.
I always ask people when they get in the boat if they're a crappie jigger. Because if they jig crappie, they're going to be used to feeling that thump.
Yes.
And if they've never did that, then I'm gonna have to coach them on the thump a little.
Right. And You know, Tony, also, a lot of people think even a bigger channel cat, say you hook a 5-8 pound channel, everybody thinks a big fish is going to grab it and jerk that rod out of your hand, but that's not always the case, is it, with channel cat?
Well, heck no, man. You might feel a little tiny bump, or you might feel like the line just relaxed and he's come up a little bit, and when you set the hook, you're like, oh my God, I've got a big fish on here,
Right.
just like a little one.
I've done that a lot. And then what I do in a still day helps this a lot. But I'm a line watcher. I am. I watch that line,
Absolutely.
And if the slightest twitch on that line, I don't just barely set the hook. I set the hook like I was trying to catch a shark, because you might catch a big fish, but set the hook hard, and you may come up empty-handed, and half the time you will, to be honest with you.
I put enough weight, because I'm fishing with ultralight rods.
Yeah.
And the end of those things are real sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually put half ounce. Half ounce will do it. If it's real rough, I'll go up to an ounce if the wind's really blowing.
Yes. Yep.
And so it'll go on down and kind of stay where it's at and not be 10 foot under the boat.
Right.
But so I do that, and it puts a little bend in the end of that pole.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I watch that bend. And if that bend ever comes up, I set the hook.
Yeah, hard.
That's a fish doing that. Nothing else can make that bend come up except a fish headed up with that bait. That's
right. You can always stay in contact with your bait because you got enough weight on there to put a little tension on the line. And, because nothing would be worse, I dare say, if you just put bait on a hook without any kind of weight and it might make it down. It'd probably eat it up on the way down. You'd never feel a bite, probably, unless he just hooked yourself.
It just take too long to get down there.
Yeah. So
the key is get it in the strike zone. If that strike zone's 3 feet off the bottom, you need to get to 3 feet off the bottom as quick as you can.
Exactly. Well, we've talked mostly about channel cat. Now, and I'm going to see if you agree with me on this, or you may or may not. I think I know what you're going to say. But blue cats, we've said this many, many times. Now, I've caught blue cat, and you've caught a bunch of them on your bait. They will hit it. But if you're if you're targeting a bunch of blues, it's hard, in my opinion, it's hard to beat meat. By that, I'm talking about fresh shad or something of that nature. Well, what is your opinion there, Tony?
If you're going to go after the bigger ones, you need cut bait.
Yep.
Ain't no doubt. Fresh cut bait. I mean, there's all kinds of things to bite on.
Yep.
Fresh cut bait's the best.
Yeah.
Ain't no doubt for blue cats. I mean,
no,
there's one area of the lake here that you can go punch bait fishing, and all you'll catch is blues.
I want to go there.
Your smaller eater, like 12, 14-inch fish.
So let's go there next time I get with you.
They'll be over there on the other side from where I'm fishing now.
Yeah.
That's Blue Cat City over there. And I don't ask me why to explain it, because I can't.
Yep. Well, I want to tell you
maybe they don't get along. Blue Cat stayed over there, Channel Cat stayed over there.
That's right. Well, next time I get with you, let's go catch some of them 14-inch blue cats on your bait. How
they're
about
good
that?
Eating. They're good eating. I'll go over there once in a while and get some of them.
Well, okay.
If you want the bigger ones like we're catching now, we're targeting these bigger blues. We're catching some trophies.
Yep.
And we're using medium-sized shad cut.
Mm-hmm.
And we're catching a bunch of those 8, 10, 12, 14-pound fish, just perfect for eating. And then we're getting the trophies, too, along with it in the hot weather. And then you can catch them if you fish for them.
So the blues are on right now, the eater blues.
Yeah, they're on. You can catch just about all these trips I've done here lately is going to yield 4 gallons of meat.
Yeah.
You just can't. I mean, you got 4 people in the boat, and you all got a gallon apiece. You really can't ask for no more than that, because that's what you'd get if you went channel cat fishing.
Limits.
You gallon of meat apiece, 25 of those, about a gallon of meat filleted. So
yeah.
if you get a gallon of meat, that's about as good as you can do. And sometimes you do better, but on the average, that's the way it is.
That's right. Tony, connect everybody with you. Folks, now Tony does guide that and makes the Tony P's catfish punch bait down at Lake Tawakoni. So tell them how they can connect with you, Tony. All our friends
Best thing to do is just call me on the phone, 903-474-3078. I got it in my pocket 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
You do that.
And you leave me a message, and I guarantee you I'll return it.
That's right. Leave the number once more, please.
903-474-3078.
Well, Tony, I always look forward to when I do get down to Tawakoni and get out and go fishing with you. But dove season starting. We're gonna try to get loose and go shoot us a dove or two. I know you're a master dove hunter, and we'll have some fun there. And I hope to see you soon. I want to tell you about a one-stop shop for everything related to game feeders and fish feeders. Ultramatic feeders. I've been using components and feeders from Ultramatic feeders for 20-something years, I guess. They have the remote, which you can remotely activate your feeder with, the timer, which is the most simple timer that I've ever found on a game feeder, and then the eliminator. Check these out. They are worked on centrifugal force, and they seal off the corn supply so coons and squirrels can't get to the corn. Check them out. Ultramatic feeders, you could go online to ultramaticfeeders.com. Folks, let's talk a little outdoor cooking. Let me tell you about an electric smoker that I've been using for 15 years, I guess. Smoking Tex electric smokers. If you're tired of staying up all night keeping that wood fire burning when you're barbecuing, give Smoking Tex a try. They're made to last a lifetime. You can check them out at smokingtex.com. That's SMOKINTEX.com. For seasonings, anything to do with outdoor cooking, all kind of jerky seasonings, sausage seasonings, Butcher Packer Supply. That's butcherpackersupply.com. I think the website is butcher-packer.com.
Big Sam left Seattle in the year of 92 with George Pratt, his partner, and brother Billy too.
Friends, this segment is made possible by Platinum Cadillac and Chevrolet in Terrell, Texas. Stop by and visit with my buddy Mr. Justin Rudd and his team of experts and let them put you in a new Chevy pickup or a Cadillac or whatever you might be in the market for. Also, the Choctaw Hunting Lodge up in southeast Oklahoma. Check them out at ChoctawHuntingLodge.com. Also made possible by Pyramid Air, your one-stop shop for everything airgun related. Well, friends, I hope you've enjoyed our show thus far. Mr. Tony Pennebaker talking about catfish. He is a renowned catfish guide and catfish bait maker. Of course, Mr. Whitetail, Larry, and I covered the bases on hunting. Let's talk with Jeff Rice. Now, a lot of you have, you might remember Jeff has been a guest many, many times. He's one of my best friends in the world. We hunt and fish together, and Jeff puts our TV show together each week called A Sportsman's Life. I know a lot of you watch that on Carbon TV and YouTube. So I thought let's talk a little hog hunting. Jeff is about as big a hog hunting nut as I am. Jeff, thank you for being with us, buddy.
Oh, always glad to join you, my friend.
I meant that in a good way, by the way. Yeah, you kind of like to hunt hogs, don't you, Jeff?
Oh, man, I tell you what, I don't know anybody that likes to hunt them more than probably you and me.
That's right. I mean, summer, winter, hot, cold, it don't matter. So we hunted now it's been a couple weeks ago, but we hunted down at Jeff's Buck and Bass Ranch down on the upper end of Lake Fork, and we had an absolute ball. You heard David Hansen and I talking about it, I guess, last week. I'm not sure, but our goal, Jeff, was to. I've got the ATN, the Thor LTV model thermal scope on my 223 on my CVA Cascade. So my whole deal was to try to I had yet to really put that scope to use the video part, and I wanted to film at night, shooting a hog, and get some fodder for my newspaper article and all that, which we did. But the thing was, I got there, before dark. It was getting, maybe twilight time. But we were all set up, and you had already, on a trail camera, you'd already seen where a bunch of hogs had showed up. So you said, hey, Luke, do we have to be at dark? I said, no, let's go get them. Because a thermal scope, you can shoot, honestly, almost as well during the daytime as you can at night. I mean, you can see it well. So we took off, didn't we, Jeff? We made a beeline for that strip of woods, and I had I don't know what color you'd call that shirt, not red, but it was bright. But I'm thinking dark, right? I'm not going to be shooting. I was prepared. Well, we could have had a fluorescent shirt on at night. It wouldn't have mattered. But it didn't matter what I was wearing that even in the daylight, did it? Really, the way we did it.
Yeah, no, it really didn't. I mean, you could have beach wear on, you could have had blaze orange. It wouldn't have mattered where we were at. And the reason why we were able to get as close as we did is, we weren't just walking directly at those hogs where they could see you moving. We stayed behind a bunch of big oak trees and whatnot, and just made our way in super slow. And, that's the way to do it. We knew those hogs were in there. My camera had gone off and sent me pictures, and so when you arrived, it's like, well, we can, now's about as good a time as any, let's go. And so we did the proverbial spot and stalk with your bright colored shirt on. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even worried about that. As long as we use the trees to our advantage, walk slow, make a little bit of movement, as little movement as possible, we could get within 50 yards of those hogs, which we did.
We did for sure. Yeah. And of course, there's a road that if you look down this road about 200 yards, 185 yards to be exact, you'll see the feeder, and that's where the hogs were. Well, Jeff had put some corn out earlier in the day, a trail of corn coming back toward our direction where you come into the mouth of this road, if you will, or where you enter the road. And so there was a trail of corn coming from the feeder, and, we knew the hogs, once they cleaned up around that feeder, they weren't going to leave that corn. They were going to follow that trail. So the thing, camo is really our topic, or what I wanted to discuss, but movement. And I know everybody that's hunted, and I'm sure most of our friends listening are hunters, but movement is what critters pick up on more than anything. Now, I'm not knocking camo. I wear it all the time. I would have had camo on then had I thought we were going to be hunting in the daylight, But Jeff, an interesting topic is like 3 weeks ago, I shot a coyote, and I wasn't actually out predator hunting, but I had a white T-shirt on and blue jeans, which I normally wear blue jeans. I had a white T-shirt on. I'd been at Kenneth Shepherd, my buddy's place down the road, shooting my rifle in. And he had a cow that had died, and they drug it back off on the slough up on the bank out there. And he said, I've been hearing coyotes yapping every day. And I thought, well, why not? I've had a white T-shirt, mind you, and a very accurate rifle. So I thought, I'm going to sneak in there. And I knew where the area that he described where that cow was, so I snuck in there with some brush in front of me, and I peeped along, and I saw movement. Well, I spooked that cow instantly. I thought, oh, my gosh, I've messed it up. And the cow disappeared, and I thought, well, maybe not. So I go up to where I could just view the dead cow, to be honest with you. I could just see the hindquarters there. And I just froze. I put my shooting sticks down, and I just froze. Here came that. I read the story right because that cow was hungry. He came back, and what did he do? He looked right. I'm standing in an open. I mean, there's a clear line of sight between me and that cow. He stared at me with that white T-shirt on for a good 20 seconds, just looking right. I didn't move. I just froze. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to kill this coyote. Well, what did he do? I mean, he finally just looked down at the ground, tried a few steps over, started feeding again on that hindquarter of that cow. So I don't know, movement. Had I moved, I guarantee you now, coyote, I don't know a more wary animal. A bobcat, in my opinion, is dumb as a box of rocks when it comes to that kind of thing. But a coyote is different. So, yeah, camo, would it have helped? He would have still spotted me if I had camo on. But if I'd have moved, he'd have been in the next county, I think, Jeff, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Those animals are so perceptive to movement. Deer, hogs, coyotes, any of those. I mean, that's an instinct that they have and a way to escape and know if there's danger. If they see movement, typically, and you and I, like we talked about, I mean, we're avid hog hunters. And hogs, you can kind of get away with it a little bit if you move super slow.
Yep.
But I can promise you, like deer, you move a little bit and they're on you. They're on you.
That's it.
But yeah, but in this particular case, we were able to use the trees and whatnot and get close enough. But yeah, with a white T-shirt, blue jeans, and a coyote, I remember that. We've got the video, and I tell you what, I was quite impressed because they are probably, like you said, the most wary animal out there.
That's right. I forgot about that, but I did video that. Yeah. Yeah, it's on one of our Sportsman's Lives. It's not a long video because that coyote didn't stick around. I didn't wait around to do a lot of more filming because I figured if he'll give me this chance, I'll go ahead and get him away from our fawns, our deer. And I did,
Absolutely.
But it happened so quickly. That's right, it was. It's all. I don't think you could see the white T-shirt I had on, but you can sure see the coyote and the what it was feeding on. Well, Jeff, that's interesting. But you're right, deer. How many times, friends, have you been deer hunting, and you had an old doe, or usually a doe for some reason? I just think there's an old doe. It's hard to. They are smart critters, because they've spent their lifetime protecting young and all that. But how many times have you had those ears go straight up and they've made you? They're looking straight at you. And I've had them look at me for, I don't know how long, Jeff, minutes.
Oh, yeah. They're just sitting to stare at you.
Yeah.
Oh, and the thing you got to remember, too, sometimes you'll have 3 or 4 does or, whatever, a sounder of hogs. And that's not one set of eyes. That's many sets of eyes. And that makes it even that much more difficult sometimes, depending upon the situation. But yeah, I mean, I've been busted a million times. I can't tell you how many times. Just a slight movement can do it every time.
It can. Well, my intent was not to bash camo. I'm all about breaking your outline, and camo's a dang good way to do it. But
100%.
I don't know. To be frank about it. This pattern, the woodland pattern, if we don't have this, I think the main thing with camo is just not a solid color. Granted, you wouldn't want to have you want it to kind of blend in, but camo companies, they're in the market to sell camo, clothing companies. So the different little subtle blends and all that, I totally don't go for that. But any camo that'll break your outline. Then so many animals are colorblind, too. We've talked to Larry about deer and all. So you don't want blue on deer. That's one color spectrum that deer can really pick up on. I understand, but an interesting thing, and we're about out of time. But the old Woolrich, the old checkered colored jackets that people that I used to hunt in. Like Larry said, he said, I'm not sure that's not as good as anything because it had the right colors for deer, didn't it?
And it's patterned. Yep.
But
like you said, it's movement that'll get you most of the time. You could wear just about anything, and if you absolutely don't move, if you're just a statue, they may look right at you and go, that's weird, and they'll go on. But how many times have you had a deer look at you and then they'll look away and then they'll look right back up again?
Yeah, throw that head
double
up.
Check you.
Throw the head up real quick. That's true. Well, invite everybody to watch our TV show, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. A Sportsman's Life, folks. Get out there and check us out. We do a weekly TV show. And it's all sorts of fun stuff, right, Luke? I mean, it's all of our adventures, and catch us on carbontv.com, or you can go to YouTube. We're there as well. Our channel's out there, and come see what we're up to. Everything we talk about, most of the things Luke and Friends talk about on his radio show pretty much is on A Sportsman's Life, and you can hear us talk about it on the radio, but then you can go right to A Sportsman's Life and you can watch what we talk about. So I invite you all to join us.
Thank you, Jeff. You do a great job putting it all together every week. It's like Larry Weishuhn has said, I don't know another spot where you can watch a new show every week. And what is on usually has happened the previous week. So tune it in, folks. Jeff, thank you for being with us today.
Always glad to join you, my friend. Have a great day.
For about the past decade, I've been hunting editor for Airgun Hobbyist magazine. I think the only magazine devoted strictly to airgun shooting and hunting in the country. Well, in that length of time, I've learned quite a bit about big bore air guns and smaller calibers too. A spot to go to that if you're interested in air guns, you need to know about Pyramid Air. The website is PYRAMYD, pyramidair.com. They have anything and everything you need, from the guns themselves, the big bores or the smaller calibers, to the accessories. Just remember pyramidair.com, and there's a number when you get on the website if you need to call and talk to somebody. Give them a buzz, and they can fill you in on little details that you might need to know about shooting or hunting with big bore air guns.
The snowflakes fall as winter comes, and time just seems to fly.
Friends, this segment is brought to us by CVA muzzleloaders. In my opinion, the very best muzzleloaders in the world, the ones that I shoot. You can check them out online, cva.com. Kubi's Wild Game Processing and Kubi's Restaurant in Dallas, and Vineyard Max, maker of some awesome deer attractant and some very fine game feeders and fish feeders, located down in Nacogdoches, Texas. Check them out at vineyardmax.net. Well, friends, it is the time of the year when we're filling deer feeders. We're thinking about deer season, deer hunting. It's right around the corner. Well, we're going to talk some deer hunting with Mr. Hunter Barrett. Now, Hunter is all about cottonseed, and this I've learned a great deal. I knew a little bit about using cottonseed as a supplemental food, but I've learned a little bit more. So let's visit with Mr. Hunter Barrett. His company is Fortified Cottonseed. I think the website is fortifiedcottonseed.com. Hunter, thank you for being with us, buddy.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Let's educate some people. You've done a good job filling in the blank for me for things that I didn't know about cottonseed. Here's what I know about it. It's nutritious. It's high in fat, high in protein. Once deer start eating it, I've watched them. I shot a deer off of a feeder last year in Kaufman County that was on the cottonseed. There was a rack that they built up, a wire thing for them to eat it. So cottonseed is, everybody thinks corn. Well, corn, yeah, it'll attract deer like crazy, but it's not exactly what you'd call a prime food source for them. So am I right in assuming cottonseed on good range where they've got good forage to eat and everything is probably one of the very best supplemental things to feed?
Yeah, that's why it's been in the cattle feeding and dairy industry for a long time.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, tell us, let's start off. What is cottonseed? Now, I'm from East Texas. I know about cotton. You pull a bowl of cotton, you've got the seed. Tell us what you're actually putting in the feeder, the distributor. You're not putting the whole cottonseed in there, right?
It's the whole cottonseed.
Is it?
It is the whole seed. And then we add a vitamin and mineral pack to it. We chelate the 5 minerals we can, and then add the vitamin pack in a liquid form.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay. Well, now the seed is a husk over it too. That husk.
Correct.
Okay. The whole thing.
Yes, sir. The whole thing.
Deer will crunch that right up. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's going to have a little, I guess it's going to have a little bit of material, fuzz, if you will, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell us, trust me, this will help some people. say you take a cotton boll, and you pull all the cotton off of it you can. You've got the seed, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what you got. Now, tell us what happens to that seed as far as the fortifying it, because, fortified cottonseed. Tell us what that seed goes through.
So we buy it directly from the gins,
Mm-hmm.
and they ship it to us, and we have a facility there, and we mix the liquid in with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it runs through a machine that mixes it all and then adds some granules and adds everything else to it. And then we bag it.
Mm-hmm.
So we do the 40-pound bags, and then we also just started a new company called Cottonseed Bale, and we're doing the 1,000-pound round bales of plain cottonseed and fortified.
Okay. Now,
Yes, sir.
So when it's fortified, let's think. I don't want you to give the whole, every little item, but it's fortified with minerals that deer need, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but it's still going to have that high fat content and the high protein. So that's built into the cottonseed, I guess.
If you can compare it to something, it's like a high fat pellet.
Mm-hmm.
It would be just a high fat pellet with all the good vitamins and minerals.
Okay. So now, all of us here in Texas, or people are listening other places too, but here in Texas, we're all accustomed to a corn feeder, and there's not many ranches that I've ever been to that didn't have some corn feeders. So we know about that. How do we distribute the cottonseed? A corn feeder won't work. So I know it's a basket type affair, and I think your company offers those things, but it has to be like a wire enclosure, right?
Yeah, the V-mesh wire or horse panel wire, and you can build a ring and clip them together with hog rings, and then set a T-post in the ground and put that basket over top of it and fill that up to where they can kind of move it around and shake it around.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some really nice feeders available now from quite a few different companies that are super handy. So if you don't want to build all those feeders, you can buy them as big as you want.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As far as I know, a lot of people probably will build them, but I've noticed the one that I've hunted over, a couple of them that I've hunted over, homemade. I didn't really go into detail studying them, how they were made, but looked like a pretty easy thing to do, to put them together.
Very easy. I like the baskets. I use a lot of them, and then I try to put like a mineral lick tub or something over top of that fortified seed,
mm-hmm.
just to keep most of the big rains off of it.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Well, that's another question. What if they're going to be out, they're going to get damp at times, I guess with that open air situation type feeder, they dry out, right?
With the fortified, it's a little less rain resistant than
mm-hmm.
plain seed.
Mm-hmm.
So if it gets really wet, you try to get out there and just take that basket off and scatter it around. That way it'll dry out really well, and it just doesn't go through a heat sitting in there.
Okay, I got you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that come up, in my mind. But you could literally hang the basket, couldn't you? I mean, hang it up from a tree limb or whatever.
I don't know if you could do that. It's mainly just to set it on the ground.
Okay.
Just set it straight on the ground.
And I would assume, all of us hunters know about feed pens, but if you have any cattle or any, it's probably good. Our hogs, you're going to have some hogs probably a good idea to build a pen around it. I don't know. Do you do that a lot?
Yeah, for cattle, them cattle will go in there and eat a lot of it.
Yeah.
The hogs, they'll end up, I bought a new place kind of down here in the hill country and watched that place, and it took them about 2 months for those hogs to quit eating it.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with our place in New Mexico. The bears will find a new basket and they'll sit there and eat a whole bunch, and then they'll quit coming.
Yeah.
So the only thing that can digest cottonseed because of the gossip hole is a ruminant animal. So you're not feeding your raccoons and hogs and birds and everything like you would on other feeds.
I'm with you. Well, but the deer this is an oddball question, I know, but that hull, as I know, a cottonseed is pretty tough hull. They crunch that up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, to break it down. Then they're a ruminant. They lay down and regurgitate and the whole system the way they all do. So okay, it's making sense. It's all coming together, and I can see the benefit of cottonseed. I can. And of course, I've been around ranches. The first time, Hunter, that I ever was exposed to cottonseed being used to attract deer was out in near between Fort Stockton and Marathon. Clayton Williams that ran for governor years ago. He owned the West Powell Ranch and the Longfellow Ranch. He had a ranch manager named Paul Williams. This was back 25 years ago, maybe a little far longer than that. And they were promoting mule deer hunts. Now, mule deer hunts are high dollar hunts, but back then they were promoting them on the Longfellow and the West Powell. So they invited me out there, and Paul Williams, who was a wildlife manager for Clayton Williams and on those big 100,000-acre ranches, he showed me, he said, "Luke, this is cottonseed." And I said, What? Cottonseed? You're feeding that to deer? He said, "Yep, it took a little while to get them acclimated to it, but, I mean, they were feeding that stuff by the ton, and that was years ago. So it's not actually a brand new idea, is it?"
No, sir, not at all. It just wasn't readily available,
Mm-hmm.
and it was hard to handle. If you wanted it, you had to go to a gym and fill up the back of your pickup or fill up a trailer or get a full semi-load.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've just made it a little easier availability for people.
Well, let's talk about availability for people. I know there's a lot of hunters right now thinking, I might want to try this if they haven't already. Places like Tractor Supply, you can get it, right?
Correct. Yes, sir. And we have dealers all over the state of Texas to Georgia is about, as far as our dealers go right now. But I ship to Florida, Pennsylvania. We ship all over.
Okay. So you go to Tractor Supply or just check with your local feed store. More than likely, if they don't have it,
sir.
they could stock it, right? Get it.
Yes, sir. And then, they can call the office or call me anytime, and I can help them find it.
Let's do this. Make sure and get the website out. I mentioned it a while ago. Give the website and maybe a number where people could always contact you,
The website is fortifiedcottonseed.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then the phone number to call would be 806-724-5856.
Okay. And, folks, we are visiting with Mr. Hunter Barrett, and where the topic has been and is cottonseed. Well, gosh, there's a lot of cotton grown, especially out in West Texas and where I was from in Northeast Texas. Not so much anymore, still quite a bit, but out around Lubbock, all that's cotton country still, isn't it, Hunter? Lots of cotton.
That's why we put that plant in Hale Center. There's a lot of cotton there.
and a lot of cotton seed, you bet. Well, I do appreciate you being with us. I'd like to maybe get you back from time to time. And, this is interesting to me, being an old hunter. I've honestly never used that, on my own, but I'm going to. The last thing I'd like to hit on is getting those deer acclimated to that, say a lease these deer have never seen cottonseed. There's a product that's called Vineyard Max. I mentioned it to you off the air. It's hammer mill grape skins mixed with corn chops, mixed with rice bran. And Larry Weishuhn and I have used it out in Sterling County, a deer lease last couple of years where deer never seen a grape. It brings them in. I wonder about mixing some of that. Well, I know they have done that here in Kaufman County to get them coming into that foreign, cottonseed, as far as or corn for that matter. What's your feelings on that to get them started on it?
If I was to get them started on a new place, I wouldn't do it when we have as much green as we do right now.
Right.
I would start, in the colder part of the winter,
mm-hmm.
and then I would add a product like you're talking about, or any other attractant or corns or
Mm-hmm.
those kind of things to get them acclimated to it.
Okay, good idea.
Yes, sir.
So you would start your feeding. Well, everything's green. It's summer or brown wherever you live.
Right.
So, would you maybe when everything's dead in the winter, when they're looking, they're needing that. They started off at that time, right?
Correct. Yes, sir. If you've never fed it before, that's when I would start, and you have better luck starting it then.
Yes. But you have time to get your feeder, your baskets, and all that stuff geared up, and then just plan for it. And say about late December, kick them off on that, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, that's some interesting stuff. That's what we try to do, is cover the gamut on hunting and fishing topics. And sometimes I do come up with some idea. That's what I'm all about. And my newspaper column, Hunter, it runs in about 52 newspapers every week. This is going to be a good topic. Give me some fodder, if you will, to work with. So thank you very much for being with us. And, again, I'll leave that number, folks. But at fortifiedcottonseed.com, you can learn all about it. But it's 806-724-5856, and we'll put it on the website. Hunter, thank you a lot for being with us, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Folks, that about wraps our show up for this week. I've enjoyed being with you, and I hope you've had a good time, too. And, folks, we're also brought to you by the Choctaw Hunting Lodge up in southeast Oklahoma, located about, 45 minutes west of Hugo, Oklahoma, owned by the Choctaw Nation. It's about 45,000 acres of awesome mountain, country, hills, valleys, loaded with game, lots of eastern turkey, and they do eastern turkey hunts if you're looking for a spot to hunt turkey in the spring.